Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to 40 Days of Love. It's early in the morning, but I'm out here in these streets. Okay, coffee in hand because it's necessary, but I'm glad you're here. And if you're not here right now, catch the replay. When you catch the replay, I'm glad you're catching the replay. So here's the deal. Today is day 28. It's actually the day of the dare. Because I did not go live yesterday, because I had a service last night, I thought I would get up this morning and make sure that I was faithful to my commitment and lead you through today's dare. Typically, I like to prep you the day before so that you're ready for the day. But by the time I got from the gym yesterday and got home, ate something real quick, I grabbed the shower and I had to be out of here. I didn't remember it was a 40-minute drive to the church, right? So it just took me time. And then we were in service. We didn't leave till after 10 last night. Like I got home right at almost 11. And so anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to make sure that I was giving you what was today's lesson, and you can go back and listen to it when you get up this morning. Grab it while you're getting dressed. Just play it in the background. That's all. So I wanted to jump in because I'm actually teaching in about 2.5 hours for my Titus 2 women's group. So anywho, yesterday, let's just briefly recap yesterday, which was love encourages. Your dare, eliminate the poison of unrealistic expectations in your home. Think of 1 or 2 areas where your spouse has told you that you're expecting too much and tell them you're sorry for being so hard on them about it. Praise them for something positive and assure them of your unconditional love. How did that work? Did everybody get a chance to do that? Expectation is one of those things that is, it takes a lot out of people to try to live up to who you think they should be. I believe that we should, for lack of a better terms, let them live up to who God says they should be. And even that's tough because we always feel like God is holding us to such a high standard that we can never reach it, which is totally untrue. He's shown us how we can be what he's called us to be. It's just us who choose not to do it most of the time. So it's not that God is not allowing us, because he does allow us. But what it is we just think that there's all these rules. I found so much freedom living in God. There's not a lot of, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't. I choose not to do certain things just because I don't want to do them. They're not appealing to me anymore. I want to make the Lord happy. I want to do what he's called me to do. And I want to mimic that in my marriage. There are certain things that I could do as a single woman that I can never do as a married woman. And that's just how it is. There are certain things that I need to do as a married person, as a mother. I need to make sure that I am holding up my end of the deal. But to put so much pressure on somebody for them to be everything that you never had, or be everything that you're never going to be, is just very unrealistic. And I don't think we should put that pressure on people. We really shouldn't. I've often said this about me. This is personal to Shakima. I want a spouse I can grow with. I don't want somebody that's so far ahead of me that they're pressuring me to come up to their level. And I don't want to be so far ahead of somebody that I'm pressuring them to come up to this level. But I want us to be our very best selves so that we can come up together, whatever it is that we need to be doing as a team, as a group, as a collective, as a collaborative. Then I want to be able to do that. So just think about that unrealistic expectation and don't put it on people. Think of this. Can you do it? Whatever you're asking them to do, are you able to do it? If the answer is yes, great. Help them get to that point. If the answer is no and you're waiting for them to do it so you don't have to, perhaps it's a little unrealistic. Just my thoughts on that. We're jumping into day 28 because it is actually day 28. Day 28, love makes sacrifices. And I think this is the thing that can be a challenge for people because I want things my way. I want it to go the way I want it to go. I want it to benefit me. Is this good for me? Has this helped me? What am I going to get from this? That's how we live our lives. It's all about me, mine, and my. Me, mine, and my. I. Shakima, Shakima, Shakima. When you get married, that's no longer the situation. You now have this person and this person together, and they have to figure things out. There's a give and a take. There's a lean and a bend. There's just kind of that collaborative togetherness that we have to think about. And it's not always about what I want when I want it and how it's going to most benefit me. There are moments when I'm going to have to give up myself to bend into what my husband needs, or to give what he needs, or to lend a helping hand, to give a listening ear, to give a shoulder to cry on, to give grace and mercy for them to just have a meltdown or a breakdown, not to stay there or live there, but just to say, hey, listen, I'm struggling here and I need somebody for me. And so as their partner, you want to be that person for them. You never, ever, ever want to be so rigid and stringent in your give and take of time and space and mercy and grace that they go and find somebody else to be their listening ear, their shoulder to cry on, or their safe space to be with. That's my job. And so I got to understand that while I may see what they're struggling with as, oh, that's non-relevant, that's a non-issue, this is what I would do to fix it and make it better, with my attitude about it, that I would say, you know what, I understand where you're coming from. Now let me see what I can do to help you. Okay. He gives us the source verses. Now, this is an allowing day, right? You got to allow people to be who they are. You have to allow them to feel what they feel and experience what they experience. We're never allowing anybody to stay there. That's not what I'm saying. But there are moments that people are just being their human natural selves. And that is what it is. But then we say to them, hey, I understand. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to be what you need me to be in this moment. So love makes sacrifices. This is an allowing day, day 28. Y'all, we are only 12 days away from being finished with this challenge. Can you believe it? Just give yourself like 3 little hand claps because you did it, y'all. You did it with me. You stuck in there with Shakima, and I'm very thankful. 1 John 3:16 says he laid his life down for us. We should also lay down our lives for our brothers. When I was reading that, the Lord brought it to my mind. He said in John 3:16, he loved us so much that he gave his son lay down his life. That by 1 John 3:16, we should now have received the example and be laying down our life for somebody else. Now, that's not a physical thing for us like it was a physical, natural thing for him, but it means sacrifice. If this doesn't make me happy, but it's helping you out, not taking advantage, not being manipulated to help you or do things. But if this isn't something I would do, but it's something that you need help with, then I'm going to lean into whatever that is to help lift your load, to make your burden easier, to make it lighter to carry, because I esteem you to the level that I want you to be well. I want you to be whole. I want you to be sound, right? A lot of people deal with things here and we're unsound in our mind. We're making decisions that don't make sense. But if they have someone to lean into, somebody that they can talk it through with, somebody that can give sound advice, we become sounder in our minds, therefore not being double-minded. And so I was grateful when the Lord showed me that. He also gave us Romans 12:15, Genesis 2:18, Galatians 6:2, and 2 Peter 1:3 and 4. So I am going to scroll on over to those verses very quickly, just so that we can know what we're talking about this morning, or to hear what the word has to say on this situation. Good morning, y'all. Thank y'all for chiming in. If you want to let me know who's here and where you're chiming in from, I'd love to hear. Thank you, Instagram. Good morning. All right, Romans. I was thinking about this as well when I got up this morning. It wasn't like I wanted to get up. I typically sleep until 7, prep for my meeting, and then I'm meeting by 9. But I thought, hey, you know what, Shakima, you made a commitment to this space. You made a commitment to this book. Nobody would have held me accountable. Well, maybe some of y'all would have, but most people would not have held me accountable for being at church last night, having a long service, not getting home till 11. I'm not really my best self at 11 and midnight. I can work that late, but it's not my best. I'm better in the morning. Or if I had just showed an older video from last year and not done this at all, but I committed to this. I made a choice to say, hey, I'm going to be here for the next 40 days. And so I felt like, hey, I'm going to do this because I know some people are following exactly, and some people need this encouragement to keep on going. By day 28, though, I hope and pray that we are not leaning so much on Shakima to walk us through it, but we're walking ourselves through it. I'm just a help. I'm just a benefit. I'm just an assistant. Right now, you're taking all the accountability for what you're doing towards your spouse. So that was my thought, but I still made a commitment to be here, and I needed to be here, right? As soon as I'm done with y'all, I'm going to go prep for my morning class. It's going to be perfect. I'm going to wear the same exact outfit and the same earrings and the same makeup, and life's going to be great. I'm just going to cut out a step of my personal get ready time. And I'm just going to do what I'm going to do just like I am right now. Moving on. Romans 12:15 says, celebrate with those who celebrate and weep with those who grieve. Celebrate with those who celebrate, mourn with those who mourn. You've heard that in a different translation. Genesis 2:18, one of the verses that the Lord gave me several years ago as a personal verse just for myself, and I have not forgotten it since. Genesis 2:18 says, then Yahweh God said, it is not good for man to be alone. Therefore, I will fashion a suitable partner to be his help and his strength. This is when God was thinking, you know what, Adam doesn't need to be by himself. Let me give somebody to help him, right? Did he really need help? Probably not. But everybody else had companionship of a like kind. Adam did not. God saw that need and he gave a companion of a like kind. God gave you a companion, or he calls you to be the companion of someone that is like you. Then it is for us to be their helper, right? We're the weaker vessel in a sense, according to how the word says it, but we're not weaker where we can't help them. There's an added benefit that they get when they get us. They get favor from God, and that's an added benefit to them. So maybe I'm supposed to add value to this relationship, and I need to figure out the best way to do that. Galatians 6:2 says, love empowers us to fulfill the law of the anointed one as we carry each other's burdens. And then last but not least, 2 Peter 1:3, that talks about him giving us everything we need. May grace and perfect peace cascade over you as you live in the rich knowledge of God and of Jesus Christ. Everything we could ever need for the life of godliness has already been deposited in us by his divine power. For all this was lavished upon us through the rich experience of knowing him who has called us by name, and invited us to come to him through a glorious manifestation of his godliness. So everything that we need to live this life that God has given us to live has already been deposited within us. It's just up to us to live it. That even means everything he's given us, everything we need to live to help our spouses out. He talks about in this chapter that life can be hard. And I believe that life does throw you left curves and right punches and all these things. It gives you moments where you're unsure, like you're questioning all your life's choices and decisions. He says when life is difficult for us, we notice, but rarely or very less often do we notice that life is difficult for our partner. We don't notice that they're going through till they start complaining. They have a bad attitude. They acting like they ain't got no good sense. Like, what is going on here? It is that we have not been attentive or given an attentive ear or eye to see who they are and what they're going through. I can acknowledge that there are moments when I'm solely thinking about me. But as a parent, I don't have a spouse, so I'm not in that mode. But as a parent, I always notice Let me not seem perfect. When I oftentimes notice when something is wrong with my children, their shoulders aren't as lifted as they once were. They're a little slumped over. Their attitudes are a little bit poor. They're slowly moving around the house. They're not doing all the things that they used to do. This is when you need to kick in and say, hey, something's wrong here. Let me perk up a little bit and figure out if they're under too much stress. Is it too much pressure at work? Are the bills piling up? Have we overspent our budget this month? Have I not been attentive to their needs intimately? Have I just done the cursory wham bam, thank you, ma'am? Do they need a little bit more from me in this area than what I've given lately? This is when you get out all your smell goods and your fresh smelling bath salts and you soak them in it so that they can soak later. You know what I'm saying? What am I missing? What did I not hear him say? What did she communicate that I now need to lean into to see if I can lighten this load and lift this burden for her? That's the part about marriage that for me is so good, because they may never be able to find relief anywhere. May they never be. That's my prayer. God, may my husband never be able to find relief at anywhere else except here. Me and you, God, between the both of us, may we be the ones that bring the relief that he needs. He says too often, the only way we notice that life is hard for them is when they start complaining. Then instead of genuinely caring or rushing in to help, we might think they just have a bad attitude. The pain and the pressure they're under don't register with us nearly the same as our pain and pressure. And I wonder why that is. When we got married, the Bible says, and the two have become one. We should be so well in tune with each other that I feel your pain when you feel the pain, that I feel the pressure immediately when you feel the pressure. Now, understand, that doesn't mean I'm staying under the pressure with you. I don't, for one, like pain. I don't, for one, enjoy pressure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see, how can I alleviate this pain and pressure for you? What can I do that helps lift your burden, lighten your load? Because that's what God would do. We take everything to the Lord in prayer. If Philippians 4:6-8 tells us, 7 and 8 tells us, 4, 6, 7, and 8. Don't worry, but pray with thanksgiving. Make your request known to the Lord. Then think about all the things that are good, all the things that are beautiful and lovely. Okay, very good. So I know that there's something wrong. I'm going to pray, God, is there a way that I can help my spouse? Is there a way that I could lighten his load? Is there a way that I can make things better? Case in point, this is just came to my mind because it's something that I've dealt with over the past. My husband has an ex. They have children together that are not my children. In the past, his ex and I have not gotten along, which has caused so much stress on him because he's trying to make me happy as my husband, but trying to do his due diligence for his child. Is there any way I can lighten that load? I know he loves me, but I also know that he loves his child. So what do? I don't give him stress and grief when he has to go to his child and pick them up. Oh, you just going over there to see your baby mom. Well, no, that's not why he's going. He's still an active parent. Very good. So I make it easier for him to have those interactions. It's hard dealing with your ex and going back through all those emotions. And even if you're emotionally detached, leaving your child every time to go home to a place where they are not, that takes a toll on people. So when you come back from all of that, instead of me giving you grief over why you were there and what you did and what y'all said and how long, and you was 30 minutes late getting home, you must have had old time remembrances. No, I just make it easier for you to come home. I can empathize with the pain you feel of having to leave your child. Instead of always this nitpick stuff, when work is hard and they've got deadlines and pressures and different things going on. I know we're a 50-50 household. I make the meals, you wash the dishes, but you got extra work to do. Very good. Go ahead, babe, get your project working. I got this kitchen. I'm taking care of all of it. Don't worry about it. Or I'm going to do takeout this week just so that It's easier for both of us. Nobody has to clean the kitchen. We just put a few little things up. We're using paper plates this week instead of real dishes. I know that in this household we are real dishes people, but it's just a little bit more cleanup than what I would like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this easier for us. I have a friend, she has a business and her husband works a job outside the home and they have a child, and she's just really, her business is growing, and although she's at home, but she has an at-home business and it's growing, she got other little responsibilities and stuff that she does. And it's become a challenge for her to do all of the things in the household that she normally would do. This is when I have said to people, you know what? I would much rather my husband, if I had one, give me a Molly maid once a month than take me out on a out the house date. This is when these are the areas that I need help. I can't keep the house as clean as I used to because my business is growing and there are things that I need to do. And I'm stressed out about the fact that the bathrooms haven't been cleaned this week, or the laundry is piling up, or at least I haven't done a deep clean of the baseboards and the floors need mopping, or whatever the case is. So this is when a husband steps in and he says, you know what? Let me have somebody come in and help my wife. Talk to her about it first. Ensure her. I'm not saying this is because you lack the ability to do it. I'm saying this because I see that you're under this pressure. And as your business is growing, I need you to focus on that because that's bringing in the income. What I need to do now is I need to give you some relief or some pressure once a week, once every other week, once a month, or whatever, to do all of the things that I know you want to do. But at this season of our lives, we're unable to do it. And so that just makes sense. I want to lighten your load, lift your burden, instead of hearing you talk about the fact that you don't have time to do it and then watch it pile up because you're not doing it. So let me figure out where it is that I can lift this load and this burden, because that's my job. In Genesis 2, it wasn't that Adam wasn't doing the work that God gave him. He was. But God said, you know what? Everybody else has somebody to be with except him. He has me. But there are moments when I need to step away and do other things. So I'm going to give him somebody that can come in and not only plow the row, but they can drop the seeds as he plows the rows. It makes the work lighter. It makes it easier. It makes it companionable. All of us, when we're doing hard tasks, generally have somebody in the background there helping us, makes it easier. I've heard many people say, Shakima, I was washing clothes or doing whatever, and you were right there with me in the background. I wasn't physically there, but they were listening to a video and they were cleaning as I was cleaning. It just makes the work go easier. It says love doesn't have to be jarred awake by your mate's obvious signs of distress. Before worries and trouble have begun to bury them, love has already gone into action mode. It sees the weight beginning to pile up and step in to help. Love is proactive in its action. It sees, it hears, it listens. It's waiting to jump in and be the rescue. It's it's leaning in, it's hearing what's unsaid, it's reading between the lines, it's thinking ahead of time. I'm going to go ahead and gift my wife this. And when I'm saying gift, I don't mean buy something, but sometimes just the gift of listening is enough. Love makes sacrifices. It keeps so in tune with what your spouse needs that you often respond without being asked. You see the laundry piling up, then what do? When they step out the house, you just fold the laundry real quick. It sees your wife doing all the things for the children. And when the children go down for a nap, and these are the moments when she would actually do the floor, you say, hey, babe, I see you just look extremely exhausted. Go lay down. I got the floors. Don't worry about it. I'm going to get that real quick. Love turns off the TV and turns on action to see what they can do to help their spouse. Love shows compassion rather than becoming defensive. Love can look beyond a complaint and see a hurting person with an unmet need crying out for help. In Matthew, this was good. I like this verse. He says, Matthew 25, 35, and 36. When I was hungry, and for I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in, naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. These are the types of needs you should be looking for in your wife or your husband. Are they hungry, needing your body? Now, listen, let me just tell you this. Intimacy is a real thing. Whereas most women, we can say, hey, we don't need it like that. A lot of men, they need it. They need the physical nearness of their wives. And when they don't get that, a lot of times they seek it other places. Well, 3 times a week is enough for me. They may be a 5-time-a-week person. So you got to sacrifice. I don't feel like it right now. Can I just help you out? And I don't mean this, I don't mean any shade to the husband. So don't hear what I'm not saying. But ma'ams, it's not going to be that long anyway. You got a good 15, 20, 30 minutes. I mean, honey, listen, I heard Kevin on stage say one time to give his wife them 17 good pumps and then went on about his business. It's not like it's going to be forever, okay? So don't think that ain't nobody out here marathoning it. We ain't nobody for hours and hours. That does not exist in the real world of life. But there are moments when that is what they need. And that's when you don't feel like it. That's when your prayer life kicks in. Lord, my physical intimacy meter is low right now. Maybe I'm going through perimenopause or menopause or whatever the case is. God, my body is not responding how it used to. Would you please help me to be able to meet my husband's needs physically or my wife's needs physically? As I've aged, I don't have a spouse, but I can tell that there would have been ebbs and flows in how I felt in the intimacy realm. I would say at 48 years old, I am very excited about robustness. I would love a robust love life. I would, but I've been, it's been 15 years, so I'm not making up for lost time. But I think that's just where my body is. So think about that for your spouse. Is she thirsty, needing your time and attention that you give everybody else? Everybody else has time. They get your crumbs and your leftovers and your scraps. No, my wife or my husband gets my first. Your wife gets your first. I'm giving you the best of what I have, and I'll fit everybody else in. My wife or my husband doesn't fit into my calendar schedule when I have a moment. I always have a moment. Remember what I told you about my pastor and his wife? Their agreement is, if you call me, I'm picking up my phone. I don't care who I'm with. I don't care where I'm at. Now, if I call, it may go to voicemail. I already know, just send a text and it's fine, because they may not answer when I call. They got other things going. But when their spouse calls, we're answering. Even to the point where my pastor has had to call somebody else's phone. He's called somebody else's phone. Finally, he called my phone. Where is Diane? Diane, I'm calling her and she's not answering. Oh, she didn't have her phone. She put it down for a minute. I got it. I'll tell her. And we all know that. So where do they fall in your life? See, when somebody is thirsty and you give them something to drink, they always come back to the person who quenched the thirst. And if you're not the one who provides the drink, they're going to go where they are filled. They're going to go where their thirst is quenched. And I don't want that to be anywhere else other than here. Is it inconvenient sometimes for me to stop doing what I'm doing? Sure. But you're never an inconvenience. I think that's my prayer for my husband, babe, if you ever see this. And I think it's my prayer for you where your husband is concerned, or your wife. You're never an inconvenience. Stopping what I'm doing can be inconvenient at this one moment, but you're not. Let me get to a stopping point and I'm on my way in there. I recognize that you need something and I'm coming, but you're never an inconvenience. Does he feel like a stranger, insecure in his work, needing home and a safe refuge and sanctuary? When they come into your space, is it safe there? Do they feel like, oh my God, I know in this space I am well taken care of? The world is giving me what for right now, but I can walk into my house at 4307 Ocean Boulevard or wherever you live. I can walk into that space and I know that the world ceases to exist. This is my happy home. This is my happy. Is she naked, frightened, ashamed, desperate, for a warm covering of your love and affirmation? Have you said to her, have you just come up behind her and wrapped her in your arms to let her know you are safe here? No matter what it is you're facing, no matter where you feel inadequate or deficient, you're safe here. I got you and I got us. Can I depend? Can I depend on you, babe, to tell me, Shakima, you've worked a long time. You've been out here being superwoman and all this, but I got this. This is where I saw a little reel where this is where little miss, I got it and I can do everything on my own meets Mr. Sit Your Tail Down. I got this. Listen, I'm waiting to meet that man. And I've yet to meet him. And most men would say, well, you don't need a man. No, babe, you haven't made me feel like I could need you. And it's absolutely right. I'm not going to respond to every man the way I'm going to respond to my husband. And I think that's a pressure that some people put on everybody. Well, she's just a strong, independent Black woman. Feminine recognize masculine energy every time. And when you bring that masculine, feminine automatically kicks in. But if you don't bring the masculine, then I'm not going to be feminine with you. Or I'm not going to recognize that and immediately fall into submission with that. Does that make sense? Because I think sometimes independent women get a bad rep. Like we don't want somebody to come and take care of us. We do. But everybody is not that person. I'm not going to be vulnerable with every stranger. I'm going to be cordial. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be cordial with every person. But I'm not going to be vulnerable with somebody that's not my person. That's dangerous for me. Because then you get called, well, she just thirsty. She just want every man she see. No, I don't. I don't want nobody else's man. 100% do not want nobody else's man. I don't share well. I am not a sharer. We ain't polyamorous or polygamous over here. I don't want none of that. Keep it. I just want what God has for me. But we don't, you know what I'm saying? That's all we want. We just want somebody, and we can lean into that when we have that. But if we don't have it, it's very hard. And when your woman is being so hard or she's not bending into you, it's because she doesn't feel like she can. That's the truth. Okay. Is she feeling sick, physically tired, and needing you to help guard? Is he feeling physically tired, and needing you to help guard him from interruptions? There are moments when you have to say, I got your phone right now. We're not answering any more calls. You're going to go lay down. You're going to take a nap. You're going to get some rest. We're putting our phones on Do Not Disturb. I had the one and only dating experience I ever had was with a gentleman. He was a military guy and very disciplined in certain areas of his life. And because I have an international women's ministry, and I got to get off here because I got to prep for my other class. I have an international women's ministry. And that means it could be, it's 7 o'clock at my house. It could be midnight at somebody else's house. Or at midnight, my house, it can be 7 o'clock at somebody else's house. And they're texting me. And I would have all these notifications come through on my phone all hours of the night. And because I value people's time, I would wake up and I would turn over and respond to their message. It was totally disrupting my sleep pattern and I was not getting enough sleep. And he said to me, no, ma'am, put your phone on Do Not Disturb at whatever time is your time. And that's it. No calls after this time. And it wasn't like, because I'm a strong, independent Black woman, it wasn't like he was telling me what to do. What I felt like is he was keeping me safe. He was caring for my sleep, because if I don't get enough sleep, then the next morning I'm grumpy, I'm griping, I'm complaining, I'm not good to be around. He's like, no, you need sleep. You're not sleeping. And we haven't dated in a long time. It's been, 4 years now. But I remember feeling safe in that moment because he knew that I was tired and he knew that I needed somebody to step in. I couldn't figure it out for myself. And so he stepped in. He showed me, Shakima, put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Stop this. I get it. You want to be available, but you are not a 24-hour everything for everybody. People just have to notice I have office hours, and I've since had to do that even with the ministry. I want you to know that I am here for your moment, But listen, I have office hours. I answer your email when I get, oh, I'm glad I said that because I got an email to send. I'll answer your email, but I can't do it right now at this moment. I'm going to get to it, but not right now. Does she feel imprisoned, fearful, and depressed, needing some safety and intervention? Again, that's where you come in. Love is willing to make sacrifices to see that the needs of your spouse are given the very best effort and focus. When your mate is overwhelmed and under the gun, love calls you to set aside what seems so essential in your life to help rescue them, even if it's merely the gift of a listening ear. You always need to have these words. Hello, everybody. You always need to have these words on your lips. How are you doing? And how can I help you? Here's what he said that I thought was so good, and I'm done. The situation may be easy to fix, solve. It may be simple. It may not cost you anything, but it could also be an expensive fix. It could cost you time, effort, energy, money. It could cost you all of that. But in the end, it can be worth it for your spouse. Now, I'm not saying spend all your money on random haphazard things. That's not what I'm telling you. But what I am saying is lean in, hear what they're saying, and invest in those moments. It makes sacrifices. In the movie, if you have never seen the movie, this is probably a spoiler. It's an old movie, but you want to watch it anyway. Caleb had been saving up for a very big thing he wanted for himself. His wife had a need, and he refused to give that money for what his wife needed. He'd been saving this money, and she asked him over and over and over, and he was like, nope, that's not what I'm using my money for. And she eventually stopped asking. The need didn't go away. And as he began to do the stare towards his wife, he looked at that money that he had been setting aside, and it wasn't a little bit of money either. And he ended up meeting the need that she had. And when she found out about it, it was like, oh my goodness, who did I marry? Where has this man been my whole marriage? Wow, thank you. It lifted a burden and a load that she had been carrying that only he could lift. And I'm thankful that I get that opportunity in my husband's life, that you get that opportunity in your wife's life to lift that burden. Is it going to cost me thousands of dollars? Maybe not, but maybe. That's why I work. That's why I save. That's why I don't have debt, so that I can come and help my spouse when I need it. I don't have my money and your money. It's our money. We do with it what is best and we deem necessary for this family. All right. Here's your dare for today. This is for today. What is one of the greatest needs in your spouse's life right now? Is there a need you could lift from their shoulders today by a daring act of sacrifice on your part? Whether the need is big or small, purpose to do what you can to meet that need. Matthew 11:28 says, come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Today is your moment to lift the burden from your spouse's shoulders and help them to do what they need to do to get it done. That's your dare for today. I will be back live tonight at 9 p.m. to run us through for day 29, which will be tomorrow. I apologize for not being available last night, but we were at church and we had church, and I said, you know what? I'll get them in the morning. I love you guys. Be good to people and be good to yourselves. And I will see you. Like the video, share, comment, do all the things. Follow, subscribe on whatever platform. And I will see you guys later. Bye now.